This is the Sportys on the slowest sports day of the year. This has become an annual tradition where we talk about sports, but we also hand out awards and have a little fun. So let's not waste any time. We don't need any banter. Plus, I couldn't do a monologue today because everybody's on strike. Let's get to the first award, which we are calling the What Are We Waiting For Award. The nominees are DeAndre Hopkins, still waiting to sign, Patrice Bergeron, making us wait on his retirement decision, and of course, Jaylen Brown and the Celtics with still no Supermax announcement. Here, though, is Brad Stevens with the latest on that late last night. He said, quote, "It's been all good discussion. We want Jaylen to be here for a long, long time, and we've made that clear. We're looking forward to all sitting down, and we've got time here. I probably shouldn't say anything else, but I feel optimistic." Well, does anyone else feel optimistic?
I mean,
obviously, Chris.
Have I wavered at all in this discussion? And I just will keep telling you and keep repeating it that these things don't always come together super quick. There does not seem to be any sense of urgency on either side to get this done, and yet they both seem to think it will eventually get to the finish line. And so whether it's just waiting for someone to blink on the fifth-year player option or the incentives or whatever that is behind the scenes that they're left to talk about, even though we've known all this for quite some time, it just feels like it's an inevitability that it'll get there. I was out there in Vegas. Not a single person, NBA person, came up to me and was like, "Man, what's going on with that Jaylen situation?" It was always, what happens after Jaylen? Like, what does the team do to finish out this roster? What happens down the road? Maybe is Jaylen here 2 years from now? But there was never a doubt that this will get to the finish line, and so I will continue to just believe everybody.
I'm with Chris. I think this deal is going to get done. It's just a matter of when. That's it. And what are the hang-ups? The fifth-year option, the trade kicker, all of those things. Those are just the things they're going to go back and forth on. But I think the deal absolutely gets done.
Deal gets done, but he's probably not here. My bigger concern is the latter question everyone has is how long is he here after that deal gets signed?
Well, there's no question that is a concern to me, and that should be part of the team's planning moving forward. But the reason this has to win our annual What Are We Waiting For award is because what you guys are saying now is not what anybody was saying ahead of the midnight, opening, I guess you would call it, of when they could sign the deal. It was open and shut. He's going to get it offered. He's going to sign. And it's an open and shut situation. It is cut and dry, black and white, no questions asked. And now we have questions. I'm not thinking that it's not going to get done. But there's not a single soul out here who said, it might take a few months and, Jaylen's going to really want that option at the end. That was not part of the conversation.
The award goes to Jaylen Brown for the reasons that Phil Perry laid out.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
$307 million and a trophy.
And Brad Stevens. It's co-winners here. What are you guys waiting for? Just get this deal done. The What Are We Doing Here award, to quote our good friend Taylor Twellman. This is the award for the worst decision of the year. The nominees are firing Bruce Cassidy, Matt Patricia calling plays for the Patriots, Joe Mazzulla's refusal to call timeouts late in games, and fittingly, last and recently spending the least on his baseball team, one John Henry. We would like you to join the conversation as well on this one. You can go to NBCSportsBoston.com/early edition. You can also scan the QR code, which is right there on your screen. You just heard me read off the nominees, so you can vote for them. Leader in the clubhouse with 76% of the vote is Matt Patricia being allowed to call plays for the Patriots. Could it be? Could it be salt in the wounds of Bruce Cassidy? Leading this team to the playoffs, leading this team to Stanley Cup finals and just falling short. And then Phil going and winning one in Las Vegas. And then adding insult to injury, going to Milton today. And he's going to go down to the Cape, just carrying that cup everywhere.
As he should. As he should. I just look at that decision, though, and the way it was reported at the time, it felt like it was almost an untenable sort of situation. So my question is, would the Academy, Beetle, look at this and say, well, hindsight's 2020. It looks like a horrible decision now, but at the time, it was almost like it was the only move to make. I'm trying to be fair here to what happened in reality.
No, they could have kept him. They didn't need to fire him. They chose to fire him. And at least with that, you can look at it and say, well, there are some valid reasons. If you felt like there needed to be a new voice in the room, right? Put a new voice in there. Right. Maybe his time had sort of run its course here. His coaching style had run its course. But I don't look at his firing and say that's what they needed to do. I think they could have kept him as coach, and I think they would have been okay. They may not have had the year that they had. I think they would have been better suited to win a playoff series, but I don't think that this was something that they had to do.
No one right now is voting for Joe Mazzulla failing to call timeouts. So I guess, forgive and forget.
Is that because that is just way too specific for what we saw and the number of miscues we saw from the sidelines, especially during the postseason from Joe Mazzulla?
I mean, should have been broader.
Maybe a little bit broader. You might have picked up a few more votes there. But, I mean, it was messy. It was messy to the point where even me, Beetle, even I was agreeing with Marcus Smart when he was at the microphone saying, hey, Joe's taking some heat, and rightfully so. Have you seen the way he's been coaching here? That's how bad it was, and I don't think there were that many people who argued with him at the time.
It could have been Joe Mazzulla's coaching or lack thereof in playoff series.
There we go.
Something more general.
Let's be honest, though, guys. This one was a winner in a landslide from our fans. The Academy, the award goes to, I guess it goes really to Bill Belichick for making Matt Patricia your play caller for the 2022 season. Way to ruin Mac Jones's second year in the league and completely derail his progress. Well done, Coach Belichick. Well done. Time for our next Sporty Award, the WTF moment. There are a number of these this year. Patriots losing in humiliating fashion on the final play against the Raiders. Chandler Jones picking off that Jacoby Myers lateral for the game-winning touchdown. Raymel Tapia with an inside-the-park grand slam last season after Jaron Duran loses the ball, makes zero effort to retrieve it. Duran, we can say he's redeemed himself, though. Patriots tackle Trent Brown missing mandatory minicamp in June. And the Sox holding a press conference to announce a contract extension for, Rob Refsnyder. Rob Refsnyder. This one wasn't even close, guys. The winner easily goes to, Patriots winning a lot. Glory and disgrace, because that play in Las Vegas is our winner of the WTF moment of the year. Congratulations, Jacoby Myers, and I guess Chandler Jones for the heads-up play. I will say this, at least Jacoby Myers owned it afterwards. Made a terrible mistake, but he was trying to make a play. He was trying to win. He was trying to do something with a team that had been struggling to score points all year. It was a terrible decision. I don't take it back.
It's weird.
But I give you credit for accountability.
Well, I would like to check in with PricewaterhouseCoopers and see what we had in the envelopes, because it's weird that Bill Belichick won Coach of the Year here. And we're talking about a play that was a pretty good sign that they were not on the ball and that they were not the best
Coach of the Year sandwiched by two terrible decisions.
What? Wait a second. They were undisciplined. They had a lack of coaching at times. Offensively, they were a mess. And that play was a good way to just sort of encapsulate it. But no, please give Bill Coach.
I could help explain this now. That contributes, the fact that Bill Belichick's still the best coach in town contributes to the WTF-ness of that moment, right? Because if it was somebody else, you would say, just another guy on the sidelines, doesn't know what's going on. But it's Bill Belichick, and at the end of the game, critical situation, situational football, that added to all of it. Yes, Jacoby Myers, even one of their smartest players, one of their toughest guys, I think, generally speaking, did the right thing across the board almost no matter the situation. So that was part of it, too. But the fact that Bill Belichick was on the sideline for that made it more of a WTF moment.
Very WTF. But congratulations on your Coach of the Year, Bill. Do it again this year. All right, time for one of our favorite categories, Sound of the Year. Let's listen to our nominees.
I'm one of the best basketball players in the world. Go through struggles, go through slumps. It's a long game.
Nobody wants to ask about all the adjustments we made from game 1 to game 2.
Mac Jones, health permitting, is he a player that you envision being your starting quarterback next season, or is this a position you need to reevaluate this offseason?
Well, I think there's, Mac has the ability to, to play quarterback in this league.
All right. Well, which would you vote for your winner? Which was your favorite sound of the year?
Boy, I really, the sound of the year for me might be that Joe Mazzulla comment, because there was such a smirk on his face after the fact, and I think we learned a lot about Joe Mazzulla this year based on his stuff at the podium, because the competitiveness, the fire was all there. Also, It's a smidge sensitive, maybe just a smidge, Joe, and something that he's going to have to, I think, Beat will get ironed out here because he's going to continue to get questioned on a lot of different things, and clearly he was hot about the adjustments questions that followed him through the playoffs.
I'd vote for Bill talking about Mac Jones being capable of playing in the NFL. And the way he paused and thought about how it was he was going to answer that question. That, and close second for me, would be John Henry getting booed by his own fans at a weekend in the offseason when those fans are passionate enough about the team to show up and go to a team event and then to boo him out of the building.
At a casino where, you know, there are beverages served and there's money to be won or lost, like it's supposed to be a lot of fun, and yet they booed him. And that is our Sound of the Year winner.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations, John Henry. Actually, I feel like this award actually goes to the Red Sox fans out there for finally being tired. And we'll talk about this. The Sox are up for another award later in the show, but for being so fed up and tired with John Henry buying Nantucket compounds and Pittsburgh Penguins hockey teams, but not investing in your Red Sox. We also had some pretty major moments in Boston sports this year. So here are the nominees for our plays of the year. The Celtics forced a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals thanks to Derek White's insane tip-in to beat the Heat in Miami. How about the Patriots? They were on the verge of dropping a game at home to the Jets when Marcus Jones returned a punt 84 yards for the game-winning touchdown. We just talked about the Bruins. Disappointing, they didn't win the cup, didn't even win anything in the first round, but they did set the single-season points record. And mercifully, Matt Patricia moved to Philly to join the Eagles coaching staff and stay as far away from possible from Mac Jones. So, play of the year, guys. I mean, you know, if I had a vote, if I was part of the Academy and not hosting this show, I would have voted for Derek White because that was a thrilling end to a game. And all due respect to the single-season points record, to me, that's nothing if you don't win the title. Which I know is probably contradictory because I just picked Derek White. And even the Marcus Jones, like that's nice, but it was the Jets. It was at home. It was a 10-3 game. It wasn't great, but this gave you hope that maybe they'd come home and win a Game 7. Like it rejuvenated a fan base. It just didn't rejuvenate the team.
How many split-second, out of your seat, completely unexpected moments happen in sports? The way this one happened, and in a critical situation. I mean, the closest thing that we've seen to this, and it's a bigger stage, and it resulted in a bigger win and a greater accomplishment, but that was almost like a Malcolm Butler-esque kind of play, and that you never saw it coming, and when it happened, you said, oh my God, and it probably took you a few seconds to digest what you just said.
Would either of you vote for anything different on that list?
No.
Okay.
I'm going Derek White.
Well,
I would not.
Well, that is not the winner, Derek White. Your winner is Matt Patricia. Mercifully
come on.
Worthy of consideration?
Ain't right.
Yes, for sure.
So congratulations, Matt Patricia, for getting out of town. We here at NBC Sports Boston, we have moments of extreme passion on our show. So these are the times when we have undying desire to, well, just tell it like it is. Some would call it a rant. So with that, I give you the nominees for Rant of the Year. Listen, Tiger, you didn't offend anyone. You didn't offend me. You just got it wrong. And don't at me, because this has been a backwards tradition for a while. Tiger should have gotten the tampon for hitting the ball the farthest. Let me explain. Women run marathons. They win tennis matches and golf tournaments, gold medals in the Olympics. We accomplish so many amazing athletic feats, all while bleeding and cramping. Kurt Schilling's sock has nothing on us. So going forward, guys, men, get it right.
Calling somebody shameless. Okay. Shameless. Here's what somebody objective might consider shameless. How about if you're an executive of a team that you build up in a somewhat contender way, and then when that team is on fire and burnt down to the ground, you leave, say you're going to take some time off, and then weeks later, you reemerge with a contender. Some might say that is shameless, not voting for All-Star.
This is what I will say, okay? This is word right there. At what point are you going to get tired of somebody celebrating on your home court? I'm just saying, at what point are you going to get tired of somebody hoisting a trophy, everybody hoorahing in the locker room, Gatorade, water bottles shaking there? And when you gonna get tired of that? When are you going to get tired of that and be like, we're going to be on the winning side of that?
I can't figure it out if something goes wrong. I just can't. I don't have the patience for it. And more often than not, there's usually not a number. I can't call someone and say, walk me through this. And so if somewhere in that process of having the app on the TV and getting onto the app and then authenticating and cross-authenticating and then signing up and logging in and downloading all that, if something goes wrong, which it often does, it's it. I can't. They put that on me.
All right, the music is playing, so we'll just announce the winner. It's me. I won. I'd like to thank the Academy. I would like to thank Phil and Bertrand for sitting on the set with me and accepting the golden tampon and being so red in the face they were like stoplights. However, Chris Mannix does get the honorable mention. It was tough. I just slightly edged him out. All right, we have had many heated arguments here at NBC Sports Boston. It was difficult to narrow them down to just a few, but we did. Here are the nominees for Argument of the Year.
You're not going to convince him to come here, so I'm not blowing it all up for 3 months of showing.
Boy, that's a curmudgeon-y take. You're not going to convince it. It's not that good here anyway, Shohei. I understand. You stay on the West Coast. You'll love it out there.
Why would you want to come here?
It has nothing to do with the Patriots. We're talking about the Red Sox right now. You're stuck in this purgatory that Tomasi is just complaining about last block, but now he's sitting here with the opportunity to get the best player in baseball, and he says,
there's no opportunity.
Yeah, Jaron Durant, whatever else they want.
Yeah.
Fine.
What have the Red Sox done that would make Shohei Ohtani say, you know what? They're going to spend now. Now that I'm here, we're going to be surrounded by talent.
You're telling me because Jason Tatum turned the ball over. Grant Williams went and trapped Tyler Hero, who was 3 for.
Wait,
listen.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Cal,
what?
Cal right now is just stealing.
I have no idea who came up with this scheme. Actually, Bam Adebayo was a player. Bam Adebayo was a player tonight.
Hold on, before you started, I let you talk.
So we're going to go back. Are we going to go back? So can we go back retroactively and say that the Patriots,
did they ever go 8-10?
The Patriots padded their win total?
Were they ever under 500?
That's not my question. My question is, did they pad their win total?
But I'm going to answer your question.
Yeah.
The division matters.
So the division matters now that he's not on the Patriots.
The division matters. No, don't forget about the Patriots. We're talking about Tom. Don't shift.
No,
Stay right here.
I'm not shifting because it's not consistent. Because it's not consistent. It's not consistent.
You don't know what I said 10 years ago or 5 years ago. If Josh McDaniels was here, we're 11-3, and you're tied with Buffalo, Mike, for the number one. Mac Jones has 7 touchdown passes and 8 picks. I know what the numbers are. You apparently don't. I do know the numbers. No, I know the numbers to my side. Let me answer. But you're going to run around the block. I'm not going to run around the block. I'm right here. I'm right here in the neighborhood, right on my front porch. Here comes the stall. I'm right on my front porch. Run 4 corners. If you would, just be quiet for a second. I can tell you.
Well,
wow.
Love that.
Two appearances by one Michael Holley, but this was no contest. One of the recipients is not here, but congratulations, Phil Perry and John Tomasi, Argument of the Year. We didn't even have time. We could have done all the nominees, the separate arguments between Phil Perry and John Tomasi.
Do you have a speech prepared?
Wow.
Are you ready?
I was going to get you a tampon, but I thought it'd be nice.
I wasn't prepared at all. I'm not prepared. First, I'd like to thank John Tomasi for hating talented players. I'd like to thank him for never having made a good point in an argument. And I'd like to thank Trenni, really. I got to put Trenni on the list as well for just for allowing the magic to happen, which is me just burying Tomasi on a weekly, at least, sometimes nightly basis. So thank you. Thank you to you, Trenni.
I mean,
Way to
as well
go.
as to John.
Way to
Couldn't have done
go,
it without
Phil.
you, buddy.
You know.
Wow.